just to sum it up a little bit, a few questions are still coming. That you said earlier, human beings are meant to eat fruits. We're plant-based beings. We're not supposed to eat animals, even because some people ask me, now meat has been so modified and so processed that they wonder if just now, because of also the way they treat the animals, that just now eating meat is bad, or if it's just a general, you are really not supposed to eat that. So we're really not supposed to.
Yeah, generally, we're not supposed to eat it. But a lot of the chronic illness that we're dealing with today, a lot of people don't really immerse themselves in chronic illness unless they're going into that field. And so I'll do videos where I'll spend a whole video just looking at pictures of morbid disease and say, like, this is normal, and I grew up with a very sick mother. So I was constantly in hospitals and in nursing homes. So I got a chance to see what a lot of young people don't necessarily see unless they are like me and you have a sick elder and you're there. I mean, so I was there all the time. And so I'm just in this environment. I'm like, man, something is not right about this. This is not how it's supposed to be. And so it's not, people use the media and TV and movies to almost live in this constant suspended state of animation in this other reality. And so, which is fake. And so they're trying to looking at these famous figures and the Kardashian and all this nonsense where it's so contrived and so fake, because those people don't really look like that. A lot of them have had all kinds of work done and stuff and all kinds of money pumped into their body in different weird ways. And so it's fake, but people look at that, and regardless of how they actually look and feel, they're able to kind of empathetically connect with these, they're in that alpha state, you watching TV. And so you kind of connect with the idea of these people and live through them. And so, because I'll have people that are really, morbidly obese, really in bad shape, bad health. And they'll be so concerned that I don't eat meat, that I'm not getting enough protein. And I'm like, man, you're 500 pounds and like going through, you're in bad shape. And the last thing you should worry about is how much meat I'm not eating. We need to worry about, how much you're eliminating, and so that becomes an argument that some people make when they want to try to rationalize eating meat, because then they're like, well, what about the free range? Because pus is pus, so it doesn't matter if it can run, if it's allowed to run around in a garden or something before you chop its head off. It's gonna, there is no humane slaughter of these animals. It's just not. That's not how that works. You spend just a little bit of time. And that's another thing that's been helpful, where there's been a lot more documentaries that's been coming out that expose the terrible nature of the slaughterhouse industry and that kind of thing. But people got to understand, it's always, I mean, that level of psychopathic mentality that a lot of folks that are that work in those places have to do that. I mean, you have to, whether you were born with it or not, you got to develop this ability to not feel and empathize with other sentient beings, because you're slaughtering thousands of them a day. And so when we look at the ills of society, the bad behavior, that's a kind of a mission I'm on, is to get people to connect bad behavior with bad diet. Because that's not people always ask, like, there's a mass shooting or murders and rapes and there's all the the sex slave trade and all these different things, and at the foundation of all of these things you have pus and mucus eaters, people that eat pus and mucus forming foods. That is the foundation of all of this suffering, all of this irrationality, uh, and these evil deeds. You know, it's pus and mucus forming foods. Now people will respond and say, "Well, I eat these foods, and I'm not a rapist, or I'm not a, you know, I don't whatever, you know, to you know, I'm a moral person."
Yeah,
And the thing is, not everybody responds to drugs in the same way.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
pus and mucus forming foods is the drug of drugs, you know, the real gateway drug. And if you think about just alcohol, if one person might have some drinks and they get kind of happy and loose and they're just, you know, like, hey, what's up? You know, somebody else drinks and they get really angry and mad. They want to fight everybody. You know, they just all this anger kind of comes to the surface. Someone else could drink and they might, uh, you know, want to get, you know, want to go and kind of mess with the opposite sex a lot, you know, talk a lot of game, and mate, you know. And so this is the same drug, but in different people's bodies, it's reacting differently.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, of course.
so with pus and mucus forming foods, one person could eat a cheeseburger and go lay down and get tired. You know, someone else could eat a cheeseburger and want to go run a marathon. You know, but some people are going to eat that cheeseburger and they're going to want to, you know, go grab a machine gun and just go, you know, kill a bunch of kids at a school or something. You know,
Yes, yes, yes.
that connection between behavior and diet, you know, so as long as you're eating that way, you know, it's that pus and mucus forming food way, then you know, you open yourself up to all of the chaos that the world has to offer, you know, all of this, the insanity and all that kind of stuff. And no matter how much they try to sanitize it, what folks have tried to do in the West is sanitize something that's very unnatural, you know, from just to sanitize. It's like, well, you know, the streets are clean and, you know, my house is clean. And, you know, some people, they have the worst foods in their refrigerator, but their house is like immaculate and perfect and just, there's no dust
Yeah.
anywhere. And it's like, you know, and so there is this scramble to try and rationalize the addiction, which is what any addict does. They rationalize, you know, you get someone that's addicted to heroin or crack, they will find a way to explain why they need it. Like it's
Of
part of
course.
it's
Yeah.
healthy, it's nutrient rich crack. You know, you got to have it. And so they'll find a way. And what we've got with pus and mucus forming foods is because of the nature of the addiction, they've created an entire science to legitimize eating the worst foods on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to make people feel comfortable eating things that we should never have started eating in the first place.